everybody, it is Melanie Mitro and Katie Ersta, and we are the hosts of the Make Chic Happen podcast.
And this podcast is for you, friend. We're going to dive into the skills, mindset, and systems you need to build a successful social media presence, and it supports your business goals.
All right, and I am Melanie Mitro, one of the co-hosts, and I have left my full-time career in early intervention to be a stay-at-home mom, and I'm seriously craving something more.
All right, and I'm Katie. I am a stage 4 cancer survivor. I absolutely love all things storytelling, and I was a teacher who truly just wanted to get the groceries paid for. Never in a million years did I see what would happen with this business.
Oh my gosh, and here we are, 10 years later, and we have built multi-million-dollar businesses from our laptop, from our kitchen tables, basically anywhere that you have Wi-Fi. And the cool part is now we get to teach other people how to do the same.
So just 2 female entrepreneurs who are wives, moms, and we're also besties who want to take you on the journey right alongside us to help you build a business that you love and a life that you desire.
All right, so come on in, check out today's episode.
Well, hey everyone, it is Katy and Melanie again with the Make Chic Happen podcast, and this episode is going to include a few truth bombs, and it might make you a little bit uncomfortable, but we want you to know that we're coming from a place of experience, we're coming from a place of kindness, and we really want you to know that there are some questions you can ask yourself if you ever feel like everyone around you is giving up.
Yes.
More specifically, we're going to speak from the experience of being in network marketing and having some experience with people leaving our own organizations or experiencing it from people that we know or have mentored and have felt that what we call the mass exodus.
I know. And so you might be listening to this from 2 perspectives. One perspective could be you're actually thinking about quitting the business that you've started, right? So maybe you've been in network marketing, direct sales. Maybe you just got started. Maybe you've been in it for a few years and you yourself are like, I don't know if this is my jam anymore. Or you may have people in your organization that you feel like, oh my gosh, people are starting to leave, right? And so I want you to think about, how do I use these conversations and questions for myself? Or how do I use them as I'm having conversations with my organization?
And this might be an episode where you're like, what are you talking about, Melanie and Katie? Everything is great. I love my business. I love my company. My whole organization is happy. And I guarantee you that even if it's not today, at some point, there's going to be a little bit of wrestling. So we want to talk through that. So I think today, though, to kick us off, you wanted to share something from a book that we both have read. Oh my gosh. Countless times.
Yes. So the book is GoPro. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm holding it up right now. So it's Eric Worre, GoPro, 7 Steps to Becoming a Network Marketing Professional. And this was probably the second or third book that we read when we started in network marketing because, again, if in previous episodes, I think it was 2 episodes ago, we actually talked about how we had to Google what network marketing was. And so you have to learn the business. This really teaches you like, okay, how does the business actually run? And so a lot of times, when people are coming or going, they like to blame the company. They like to blame their upline. They like to point the finger at somebody else and say, this business doesn't work. And very specifically, it's like on page 28, and it says there are 3 primary elements to your network marketing business. And the 3 elements are, number 1, it's the company's products, right? So every network marketing company has products. And if some people are successful in marketing those products and you're not, it's not the product's fault. In other words, everyone in your company has the same products to offer to the public. So it's actually the person. So if you look at your company right now that you're a part of and you're not having success, but you see people that are, there's nothing wrong with the company's products. It's actually the way you're approaching it, right? That's again, a little bit of a sucker punch, right? The second thing in network marketing is you have a compensation plan. And if some people are making a lot of money and you're not, it's not the compensation plan's fault. There isn't a plan for men and one for women. There isn't a plan for different age groups or educational backgrounds or for the color of your skin. The compensation plan is the same for everyone. And so again, it's not that the compensation plan is broken. It maybe the way that you're approaching it, and we have to think about it a little different. The third element and the most important element is you. you as the individual. You are really the only variable. Everyone has the same product, the same compensation plan, but you are going to be the difference between success and failure. And that means right here, right now, you need to take full responsibility for your network marketing business. Decide today to never to blame anyone or anything else for your lack of results.
I love it.
And those three things, like that right there is the core. And again, people always want to pass the buck to somebody else. And I use this in training. We do what's called like a phase 2, right? This is part of phase 2 curriculum, is actually talking about that part of the business, because you actually do have control. You have control over the results. And if it's working for someone, it's possible for you too.
Right.
Okay.
And we could actually end the show there.
I know.
But we also wanted to share a little bit of our personal experience. And even when you take those things into consideration and you have the same product of somebody else who might be effectively selling it, you have the same opportunity through the comp plan as somebody else who is maybe successfully seeing compensation. But there are times when what you want and the way you feel about the product, they don't necessarily align with what somebody else is doing. So do want to at least acknowledge that.
Yeah.
But then it comes down to number 3, which is you.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and in most cases, we find that the you part of things is often what gets in the way. So today we're going to talk through a few things you may be thinking about and pondering about, but are afraid to maybe say out loud, or you might be a little bit afraid of what will happen if you leave, or if you're making the right decision, or if you're seeing people leave. These are maybe some of the things that are going on in their mind. So we're going to just jump right in, and we're going to talk about number 1. And the first question that you maybe need to ask yourself, or that those around you who are thinking about leaving may be asking, is number 1, do I need to rest or do I need to quit? I often find that when people are hustling so hard, or they feel like all they need to do is work 24/7, or they see the people around them glorifying busy like a badge of honor, they find themselves going, is that success? Do I want that? Is that, like, I feel like all I'm doing is working and working and working and not yielding results. And I almost need to pause on that and ask you, like, do you rest? Do you actually take time to turn your brain off from the work that you do? And both Melanie and I were pretty darn guilty of this, especially when I transitioned from being a teacher full-time into working my business full-time. It became easy to always pick up the phone. Yes. It became easy to tune into all the calls. It became easy to jump on a one-on-one. It became easy to push for just a little bit more volume, just one more sale, just one more recruit, just one more, that I had to kind of say to myself, wait a second, am I just resenting the business right now because I'm making myself work so much because I can't turn it off? Or do I maybe need to be more intentional about rest? Yeah. And so both of us preach being a healthy CEO, but also prioritizing the work that's going to yield the results. So that is working from an income producing activity tracker. We created the Make Chic Happen Planner not just to talk about social media, but the actual income producing activities that are going to yield results. And that's all a huge part of the planner. So ask yourself, do I need to quit, or do I actually just need to rest? Do I need to set some healthy boundaries up? So that's question number 1 to approach.
Yeah, that's a really good one. It is. And it's sometimes, gosh, you have to be able to say, like, I'm not going to, like, I'm actually good with the goal that I've hit. I don't need to try to keep up with the Joneses, right? Like, and again, sometimes when you're surrounded by really successful people, you feel that you're like, if I'm not doing it all, I'm not successful too. It can really mess with you. You've got to be set in your ways. Second thing is, am I hanging on to resentment, or am I leaning into opportunity? And what I mean by that is, once we start to like look around, and it's almost like when we start to say it's not working for me, right? Or it's kind of like we go looking for reasons why it's not going to work. Yeah. So for example, let's say we want to buy a new car and we really, really like the Lexus, right? And we really don't see them very often.
I like a Jeep.
You like a Jeep?
Yeah,
okay.
So I'm going to go with the Jeep.
You're going to go with Jeep. I know. I picked Lexus, and it's not even my favorite. Like, I definitely would say a G-Wagon. Let's go with G-Wagon. All right. So you're like, that car's really sharp, and you don't see it on the road very often, right? And then you go, you test drive it, and guess what? As you're driving home, what do you see?
Yeah.
8 million Jeeps or 8 million G-Wagons.
Right.
And you're like, oh my gosh, everybody has it. So it's the same thing with business. If you start to resent your business, you start to say, it's not bringing me joy. I don't know if I should be doing this. Guess what you're going to find more of? You're going to find more people who are whining. You're going to start commiserating with other people who too don't have joy. Other people that are like, I'm not meant for this. You're going to start finding things on social media where people are bashing a company. And guess what? The algorithm is super smart. If you're watching that stuff, they're going to keep feeding more of that. So now, all of a sudden, everywhere that you look is all validation as to why you shouldn't do what you're doing.
Right.
Instead of like taking a step back and actually saying, hold up, do I love the products and the services? Do I actually love it? And if I do love it, taking all the other external factors out of the way, is there a way I can approach it differently? And so, look, any job is going to get boring and monotonous if you do it over and over and over again. But the one thing about people that have longevity in their careers is that they're constantly reinventing themselves. They're getting creative. So you might run, and in our case, like we run the same accountability groups every single month. And at one point, you're like, this is no fun anymore. I just feel like I'm saying the same thing. It doesn't bring me joy. And there was at one point where the two of us said, let's try a different approach, right? Like, let's teach people how to actually, we did Whole30, right? And we remember that group? It was so awesome, right? And we completely like talked about it on social. We talked about health in a different way. We talked about, feeling more energetic and no brain fog. And what happened was, as we were experiencing something new, we were taking our following on that. We were excited to share content that helped people. It reinvigorated our business. It created new leads. It helped us to make more income, and it got us out of a rut.
Yeah.
Right? And so sometimes you have to look at a different way to build the business. Nobody else in the company was doing what we did.
Yeah.
We weren't like, oh no, we can't do that because that's not what the business in a box says.
Yeah.
We were like, it's my business. I am an independent consultant and I can do it this way. Or if everybody else is recruiting a certain way and you don't want to do it that way, then don't.
Yeah.
Write your own narrative, right?
It's kind of like you have to spice it up a little bit.
You do,
right?
yes.
So, I mean, if you've been committed to a business for a long time and things kind of go stale, what do? You spice it up a little bit. You have to change it up. And when we did that Whole30 journey, I remember like we had so much fun. We were researching and learning, and then we were going back to the actual products that we were endorsing through the company, and we were like, oh my gosh, what if we do this, or what if we connect this back to our and people loved it. And we did too. So that joy was back in our business because we changed it up. So where can you change things up a little bit too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So this is a big one.
Okay.
And it kind of goes back to what Melanie was saying about the algorithm. So just like if you start to feel a certain way, you start to go down that rabbit hole and you start to commiserate with other people, it works the same way. Let's say that you start seeing what other people are doing. And so you kind of go and you look at, well, what are other direct sales companies and who are the leaders in those direct sales company? And where did Sally go again? What was that company? Before you know it, your feed is all about that company, right?
Yep.
And you want to ask yourself, so number 3 is, what is making the grass greener? Like, what is actually making the grass greener? What is the business model? What makes it different? What are the products and services that they offer? How are they different than the products and services that you offer? And what makes it better in the long haul? Yeah. So if you look at businesses, and I'll never forget this, we call it the mass exodus of 2016, 2017. But I remember a lot of people went to another company and they were flashing paychecks of like what they were making right away. And I remember it being like a holy cow. But guess what? It didn't last very long. Yeah. And in fact, the company closed down, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So I will tell you that you have to ask yourself, what is actually making the grass greener? And one more plug is the grass is going to be green where you water it. Sure. So if you're so busy focused on what other people are doing, what other people have, all of the great things that are going on, you're not blinded by the fact that there's also weeds in the garden. You're not blinded by the fact that it isn't all rainbows and butterfly. Yeah. Remember, people strategically decide what they want to put in their little squares.
They do. Yeah.
They decide what they want to show. And guess what they want to show? That the grass is green. They want to share that the grass is green. So sometimes it comes back to, what are you doing to water your own grass?
Yeah.
What are you doing to make sure that you're feeding your pipeline, that you are excited about your sales, that you're spicing it up, that you are really focused on the business that you are building as well? So what's going on with the grass?
Yeah. Yeah. And to be honest with you too, like when I think about that, and even through conversations I've had, I always try to be non-biased when I'm mentoring somebody in that specific area, right? So if you're thinking or considering about switching, you always have to say it's not necessarily going to be easier, because you still have to build trust and credibility with a new business, right? So even though, and it's just like when we started Chic Influencer, it wasn't like, oh, immediately I trust them. We actually had to show up. We had to show up. We had to say, okay, you know, Chic Influencer isn't just a one-trick pony. We're not just going to be around for 30 days, right? We had to show up, and we had to prove that people should invest in our community, in our mentorships. And so we had to add value. We had to give away free content. We had to have lots of conversations and lots of invites. And really, it took our business a little bit of time to catch steam. It wasn't like we were able to take credibility in this one space and automatically transfer 100% of it over here. We really had to build that. And it is the same whether you are starting another side hustle or you're moving to another network marketing company. And you have to look at, do you have the time to commit to that startup process? Because even with Chic Influencer and with our direct sales, even though we had all these years of experience growing a company, we put in doubled the amount of time that we were working in the first, especially 18 months until we could hire more help.
Right.
You know, so right off the bat, that is important, black and white. It is going to be a sacrifice, and it is absolutely going to be work.
I wanted to share a couple of questions, and I'm just going to read them off that I would ask myself if I am reconsidering the network marketing I'm a part of when it comes to the grass is greener, or if somebody in your organization comes to you and they're really honest and they're saying, these are some things that I'm thinking about leaving to go to another company. Here are some questions you can ask. What is the business model of the new opportunity? Is it direct sales, or are you starting from scratch? Is it an Etsy shop that you want to open? How are you actually going to earn income? When can you actually start earning income? What components of this business are making you unhappy? Does the new model that you're looking to be a part of, do they have those same components? Is there a chance that you're just going to jump over there and be just as unhappy? What is making you, are you unhappy or are you uncomfortable? So sometimes I find that people get to a point in their business where they go, oh, wait, now I need to start, I'm pretty good with commissions and sales, but now I need to start developing a team. And that makes them uncomfortable. So it's easier to go to a different model. What aspects of the job am I unwilling to do right now? Am I not sending out the invitations? Am I not sending out the invites? Maybe I haven't been posting consistently on social media. What's going to make it different there? And then the other question I would ask is, how are you going to be mentored? Who are you going to be mentored by? And what's going to make it different this time around? And I wanted to share those questions with you because they should make you a little bit uncomfortable, either as a mentor or as somebody who is asking themselves, should I go over here? Because no matter what business you're a part of, it's work. It's hard work. It might be simple action, but no matter what, you're not going to work around the work.
You're not going to work around. There isn't. No. There's no workaround. All right. So the fourth question that you want to ask yourself is, okay, is my income matching my effort? And we see this a lot. Again, it goes back to the working 24/7 and all the podcast episodes we've done on managing your time. You can show up and fill up an 8-hour day, right? You know, some of us, our kids are a little older right now, and we've got from 8 a.m. till 4 o'clock when they get off the bus to work our business. What are we doing during that time? Are we, reading books? Are we chatting with message pods? Are we watching a training? Are we creating some Canva graphic, right? Or are we also maybe sitting down and really inviting, following up, creating content that's going to lead to sales, growing my email list, right? Doing all the messages, sending out blasts. Are you doing things that are actually giving you an ROI, right? Are you actually doing actual income producing activities, which are in our tracker? Because a lot of times we find that people, they just disguise busy work and call it actual business building work, and it's not at all. And so then people are like, I'm working all the time and I'm not getting results. And it's like, well, it's because you're not doing the right things. You're avoiding invites. You're avoiding you are posting on social. I'll give you that, but your posts are just documenting your day. You're not adding value. You're not positioning yourself as an expert. You're not even really inviting, right? There's no reason. So it's much more about, if you looked at your day, if you actually sat down, and an application we use here at Chic Influencers, Clockify, we use it to track where we're spending our time in the day, kind of because we're doing a project. But it's great if you're right now saying to yourself, I don't know where my time goes. I don't know why I'm not productive. I want you to actually sit down and clockify your day.
Yeah.
And I want you to see, how long is it taking you to make that Canva graphic? If it's taking you 2 hours to write a post, like, we are not using our time appropriately.
Yeah.
So we need to really look at that. That is number 4, is your time spent in the right area. And before we move on, even when you look at certain business models, if you're really good at selling product, but you know you need to be building a team, are you working and you just keep diverting back to building your products?
Yeah.
Or are you, and that's safe for you, because you can do that with your eyes closed. Are you avoiding building a team, and you know that's what's actually going to get you to the next level? Again, you're not working within your most productive time zone.
Yeah. But I think that's a great segue into the next tip. And this is a big one, and this is the the one question that's going to sum it all together. And that is, have I actually maximized my potential?
Yeah.
Have I actually maximized my potential? I remember having a conversation with a woman who's inspired me on my faith journey for a really long time. And she had been in our direct sales business for a very long time. She was a couple years into it beyond you and I. And I remember asking her the question, like, how did you know it was time to scale beyond your business? And this was at a time before we had really even started Chic, but we were playing around with it. We had our post, and we were ready to really think about it, but we were very much still in the direct sales space. Okay. And she said, here's what you need to ask yourself. If you were going to leave, you want to, number one, leave on a high note, and you want to do it for the well done, my good and faithful servant. And when I think about that, I think the way that I transitioned into Chic, I couldn't be more proud of everything that I had accomplished in the direct sales space. And I knew that moving forward wasn't about jumping to another opportunity. It was actually taking everything that I had learned through the direct sales and feeding it back to people who were in that type of business model and mentoring them and guiding them in a different way. And so when I look back, and right before we had really jumped into Chic, I hit a really high rank in the business. I was excited about it, and I felt like I couldn't have done more. I feel like I had actually maximized what I was meant to contribute emotionally, spiritually. I felt like they had given me so much that I could now give back to other people. Very cool. And so when I think about maximizing your potential, I look at it and I go, yes, but I never would have looked back even 2, 3, 4, 5, the mass exodus, 6 years into the business, and been able to say that. Right. Because I didn't feel like I had maximized my potential. And if you're not sure what your potential is, actually define that. Look at journal it out. Actually get a piece of paper out and say, like, what's my maximum potential that I have with this business? And ask yourself, have I leaned into all the opportunities from trainings? Have I actually created a team that I'm very proud of and mentored them effectively? Have I been able to showcase the products and the services that I offer and do that really to my maximum potential? And define that. But I can tell you that if you're really busy watching what other people are doing, you haven't maximized your potential.
That's so good. It is so good. It is. You got to sit with that for a little while, right? Because there are a lot of times where, we will say to ourselves, have we maximized our potential? Even from project to project within Chic Influencer, we'll go, no, we did not maximize. We cannot call that a failure. We cannot say, like, we will redo it again and we'll try it a different way. And we're constantly evolving and fine-tuning the process of owning a successful business, because there's never one direct course of action to get to where you want to go, and so you do. And then there does come a point in time where you actually do say, I have maximize the potential.
Yeah.
And I am excited about the next step. It's scary, but I'm excited
Right.
about where I'm going
For
from
sure.
this point forward.
For sure.
So I hope that these questions that we've asked you today, the conversation, the insight of just what we've been through and what we know other people go through, and just like there are lots of opportunities out there. There are lots of shiny objects, and so you just really always have to be like, am I looking at this from an emotional sort of something is new, or am I really looking at this black and white facts, pros and cons, making that list, right? Really having conversations with unbiased people. I think that's really important too. You know, you can't just listen to your spouse or best friend or person that in either of the network marketing companies too. You know, I just hope that this gives you a little more direction, because any career change, any life change is big and can have, you know, a lot of a big ripple effect in either the positive or the negative way. So
that was a good episode.
It was a really good episode. I love it. All right. So if you liked today's episode, please share it. Please tag us on Instagram at Chic Influencer. Tell us what you loved most about the episode today, and head on over to iTunes and leave us a rating and review. It helps our podcast get found by other business owners looking for similar content. We're so happy to have you here, and we'll see you back again next week.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so if you loved today's episode, make sure you head over to wherever you listened to the episode today and leave us a rating and review. And also, take a little screenshot and tag us on Chic Influencer. We'll feature you in our stories. Plus, we'd love to get your feedback and hear from our listeners.
Until next week, let's make chic happen.